even I would say in private, when you're talking in a private setting, not in a court setting. Never testify falsely about your neighbor. Next. There should be two witnesses, I would say at least two witnesses for capital punishment or death penalty. One witness shall not testify for a person who died. Numbers 35:30.
35:30. Basta bro.
Whoever kills any person, the murderer shall be put to death by the mouth of witnesses. And one witness shall not testify against a person to die.
Ay, like palib like sa my cellphone like ay ganang
So,
Bible.
what happens if there happens to be one witness, not two or three or more? Just one witness of a murder. According to Yahweh, insufficient proof. One witness is
Kasi
insufficient.
nabasa sa video, no?
Now with DNA testing, all too often we discover that people who have served in prison for decades or several years already, having been accused of rape or murder or whatever, well, they did happen to find, I don't know what, one of his hairs or so on the scene of the crime, on the crime scene. And then, decades ago, there was no DNA testing, or it was not as developed as it is now. And now they examine the so-called proof, and they say, whoops, DNA does not correspond. I'm afraid that in countries still applying the death penalty, quite a few have been put to death who were simply not guilty, or at least not guilty of the crime. You know, sometimes someone is convicted because he happens to be a criminal already, and then they say, well, you know, this is a bad guy anyway, and so probably he did this murder too. Well, even if he robbed a dozen banks, that doesn't deserve death penalty. One murder is enough for death penalty if there are at least two witnesses. Of course, the reason Yahweh demands two witnesses is to minimize the risk of erroneously convicting someone to the death penalty. Yahweh doesn't want anyone to be punished while being not guilty. Next. The father will not be executed for the son and vice versa. Deuteronomy 24 verse 16.
Fathers are not put to death for their children, and children are not put to death for their fathers. Each is to die for his own sin.
This was, let's say, a necessary law at the time. I think nowadays this is self-evident. But if you committed a murder or so, that your son will not be executed for it. Well, the son didn't do it, right? So that's self-evident in our mind. But in antiquity, it was not so self-evident. Many times they felt it, pagan nations felt it appropriate to just execute relatives. Remember Haman, remember Haman? Not just Haman was killed, but his whole family was put to death. This was done by a pagan king.